Hi, I'm Aaliyah.
I'm Zoe.
I'm Evan,
I'm Kai.
and this is our presentation, Sexism in Television Media. As you know, our ism is sexism, okay? So primarily we'll be focusing on how sexism affects and is ingrained in the media, news coverage, inside the newsrooms, in advertising, and anything that just has to deal with television media and things along the lines of that. Um, so our primary goal for this presentation is to provide information on the nature and presence of our topic and how it affects the target population, which will be women this time, because sexism in television media primarily affects women more than men. Um, our target population, of course, will be women, like I said, and people often fall into pits of stereotyping, assumptions, or a way of thinking that women are unable to do certain things because of their gender, and as a result, they're often treated different and held to different standards as compared to men. Those standards being usually inferior, thinking that women can't be doing the same things a man can, and just thinking that in news reporting and things such as that, that a man is preferred, which is not true. So we'll be taking a deeper look into why and how women are being discriminated against and stereotyped and why it is an issue.
Okay, so here are some of the definitions. Sexism is prejudice, stereotyping, or discrimination, typically against women based on sex. Prejudice is the preconceived opinion that is not based on reason or actual experience. Discrimination is the unjust or prejudicial treatment of different categories of people or things. The patriarchy is a system of society or government in which men hold the power and women are largely excluded from it. Misogyny is a dislike of, contempt for, or ingrained prejudice against women. And male privilege is a system of advantages or rights that are available to men solely based on their sex.
Okay, so some background information is that media originally was made by and for men, and as a result, sexism and demeaning images are appearing in media in forms of harassment, and newsrooms have operated with sexist policies towards female anchors since the late 1960s, and standards such as beauty, clothing, hair, and makeup are held for women which aren't seen by their male counterparts. Female anchors are often sent on domestic stories instead of intense stories, and we can see that there's just inequality between the men and women there. And in late 2017, sexism and sexual harassment became a hot topic in the media when the New York Times published allegations against Harvey Weinstein. And advertisement campaigns often include gender stereotypes and underappreciation of women. And in 2016, advertising showed women as leaders 3% of the time and showed women as intelligent 2% of the time.
Okay, so for our contemporary examples, for the first example, and we have that advertisements only depict women in stereotypical situations and or roles. And the result is that ads continue to push gender stereotypes and underrepresent women in agentic role portrayals, which further perpetuate sexism and misogyny. In an article I read called Communality Sells, the Impact of Perceivers on Sexism and the Evaluation of Women's Portrayals in Advertisements, it explained how ad companies make more money with sexist ads. So that's why they have more ads with housewives versus a businesswoman, because they make more money with those ads. And they also explain how benevolent sexism is less likely to be perceived as sexist because it references women in caring roles like mothers, wives, caretakers, And since people view those roles as good, they don't see the negative effect it might have, which further emphasizes the idea that women are best suited for low status roles. Also, it has an influence on gender inequalities and is associated with opposition against equality promoting policies. So basically, the ads depicting women in roles that are less than that are just housed like domestic roles has a great impact on how people perceive women outside of TV and in real life.
And then the second example is politicians, usually because they're shown on the media quite a bit on TV. And during the presidential primaries, women were seen as kind of less than men. They were seen as more moody, more, I guess, shrill, and yeah, not the best choice as compared to men, which is not fair. And yeah. And then a few resolutions to the contemporary examples and are for resources to be available for both men and women to cope with criticisms by viewers. So that pertains to like TV anchors and actors in commercials. Media companies should review their policies and community guidelines for or underlying sexist motives or ideologies. Advertisement companies need to help shift society's society's views on normative gender roles by having representation of women in various roles. So again, the domestic roles versus holding roles of power. And media companies should publish articles that encourage positive discussion on gender roles and sexism. And these were a couple of the sources that we